Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Lisa.
And I'm Fred.
That's our friend Fred. He's the guide at the Lititz Museum here. It is the Caboose Museum. And we wanted to share this wonderful museum with all of you. Fred, can you tell us a little bit about this wonderful Caboose Museum?
Well, the Caboose is actually was Jersey Central lines, and that was affiliated indirectly with the Reading lines, which was out of Reading. And matter of fact, the track that were Caboose is beside is a Reading lines Caboose. So it was brought here and restored, and you can see the condition as we get our tour. It's in the Lititz Spring Park, and which is right next to the Chamber of Commerce train station. And you can actually come on board, and what I'd like to do is give you an understanding of what a caboose was, why was there a caboose, and then give you a quick tour of what it was like inside. So
That sounds wonderful, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred.
yep, here we go. Now you're gonna have a backlight, you know. Okay. Now this caboose was actually brought here by a fellow from the Lititz Moravian Church, he and his father, because they're railroad buffs. So as you come in here, this was made into a train museum, and on the left, on this side, you'll see a lot of toy trains, HO trains, and these belong to that fellow, and he made and painted a lot of these, and there's actually in one of the two bunks, there were 4 bunks in the caboose. 1, 2, and over here, 3, 4. And that's where the crew would be able to stay, if you will. They didn't stay over a long overnight type thing. I think people misunderstand it. We went across the country. That wasn't how the crew worked. But this would be home for them. Coming on in, if we were to first of all, I'd say take a look in that corner over there was a bathroom. We can actually go in there and you can take a quick look, and that was the facility. No, that's the way it is. So that was the facility for the men.
Very nice.
And they would come down here. They had lockers. There were 4 lockers, and the kids loved to climb up and get up into the cupola. And people say, well, what did they do? Did they just sit there? The cupola's purpose was for the men to sit and to be able to watch the train. They would, for example, watch for an axle that might have lost grease and the axle started to smoke. So that would be a danger. So they could stop the train because, or if a load shifted. But they weren't sitting there just hanging out. They were actually working when they were up there. Coming into the caboose a little more, oh, by the way, if you look down on the floor, this is my Australian Shepherd. His name is Bunty.
Hello.
And,
beautiful dog. We love dogs.
Bunty, and I come when I come over here, Bunty comes. If you want to take a look, here, come on. Come. If you want to take a look, they had all the amenities. Here was the stove or heat where the men could cook. And if you take a look, a stove on a train had a lip around it so that the utensils, the pots and pans, would not slide onto the floor. This would stop them from going off. Coal, of course. They had a ice box. They had running water. Behind me here is the office for the conductor, because he had a lot of paperwork to do. And this would be, of course, the eating station. And one last thing, if you could, but I want you to look straight up over your head and see that there's a tank up there. There's a tank in the ceiling. What was that for? They would pump water in there at the station, and they actually had running water here in the caboose.
That's amazing.
Coming back a little bit farther, I'll move this chair. People don't understand that at one time the trains did not have air brakes. They had a wheel with a chain on it, and that chain would go to the brakes on the wheels, so that the brakeman would have to go and turn this would turn, the brakes would go on, and then the engineer would signal when he wanted to release the brakes, and he'd have to go back and let them off again. And actually they went across the top of the trains. To get around on the whole train, they would go across, and I'll show you right here. You want to zoom in a little bit, but when people look at a car, you'll see here is a ladder, and this hangout, that's a walkway. They would walk, go over the top, go back down, and then down this ladder to get to the other side, to get where the brake wheel was.
Wow.
Put the brakes on and off. That's before the days of Westinghouse air brakes. Quick rundown of what the Caboose was. This was a Reading Caboose. While you're on, and you can almost see out the windows, this particular line was built from Reading, Pennsylvania to Columbia, Pennsylvania, known as the RNC, Reading and Columbia. But what I've just learned, it was built literally during the Civil War. And it was built by older men because all the young men were off fighting in the war. They wanted this to be put in, and it was older men that built this whole line by hand. Quite a feat.
Thank you so much, Fred.
You're welcome.
That was a wonderful tour.
Beautiful.
Lititz is where we are here, and to go to the other end of the line, which was Columbia, was 18.4 miles. Lancaster was 14.9 on this line, which again, remember, was built during the Civil War by older men because the young men were off fighting in the Civil War, obviously for the Union. So this is original.
Wow, that is amazing.
A lot of the toy trains that you see here are here because the trains literally would run on this line. They weren't there just because the guy had a hobby and wanted. The fellow who put it here could actually come up and tell you which one of these cars went where on this Reading Columbia branch line. So it's pretty darn interesting. Hey, thank you for coming to Lititz. We enjoyed having you, and this is one of the nicest small towns in the United States. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Fred, for having us at your museum.
Thank you.
Thank you
Come
for the
again.
tour.
We greatly appreciated the tour, and we hope to see you again, Fred.
Come again.
Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Now, you're going to send me how.